in the next 200 years from now, we'll not be here. Yes. But because we are here, we just have to say good morning. Welcome to the program. My name is Victor Ulo. This is Good Morning Kenya. We are right on time. It's exactly 6:30 on this beautiful Wednesday. Today is 24th day of September. The month is slowly coming to an end. And yes, we just have to keep it going. Nevertheless, karibu sana to the program. Vivian?
Yes.
That is black. I got it right?
Of course, this is black. Yeah.
I got it right. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Victor. Good morning to you, Mike. And a very good morning to each and every one of you who is tuned in on the program this beautiful Wednesday morning. It is, the weather looks good outside. It looks all right, and it's going to be a lovely day. They say when you wake up, speak life into your life.
Yes.
So if you say it's going to be a good day and you believe it's going to be a good day, trust me, it's going to pan out just the way you think of it. Now, today being a Wednesday, we're going to be having women at the forefront. This is where we bring you women in different fields who are doing exemplary well. And these are women who we count as mentors to our younger generation. And the one who will be coming in today is one Joy Limo. Joy Limo is a passionate advocate and mentor, and she's also the founder and CEO of Queen's Court Academy. She's here to just talk to us about the potential to thrive. There's potential to thrive, but how do you tap into that and get to actually thrive? That is the lady that we will be talking to from around 9 a.m. thereabout. So you definitely want to stay tuned to the entire show because we have things packed up. Before we get to that 9 a.m., there's a lot that will also still be happening. So you do not want to touch that dial. How's your morning going, Mike?
My morning is...
How has it started? It's just
started on a very good note. I'm grateful that I'm able to be here. I'm healthy. And I thank God for that. Vivian and Victor, I think we need to agree, Victor. Every time Vivian comes with a color that we may not really know, she needs to tell us exactly what that color is.
Can you each get a book? Just like a small book. And a pen. You have pens already. So we just need the book. Yeah, then every time you write it down because I won't keep repeating. That's okay?
That works.
Right.
Back to class.
Back to class. Yeah? Colors class.
Yeah. So today's, I want us to take a very different tangent when it comes to what we are talking about, because for once, did you know that Kenya loses over 40% of its of the food that it produces? That translates to around 9 million tons of food that goes to waste. And economically, that means we lose over 72 billion of Kenya shillings in effect to that. So as we approach the International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste, I want us to talk about how we can stop this food loss and waste. Dr. Franklin Otiende Awor is a senior lecturer at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Technology. And Dr. Antonina Mutoro is an associate research scientist. They'll be joining me here in studio to talk about this very important aspect, because it's something that may seem that it may not seemingly be something that many people know about, but its effects can be felt, especially when we have food shortage. So I invite you to tune into that conversation later on in the program. Now, why don't we have the quote for today? Because that is very important. And actually, it's talking about the day. So today's quote is by Alice Moss L. It's saying, every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. Every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. So to me, there is a constant reminder that life will not always go as you have planned it. The day may not always go as you have planned it, but when you look back, there is something to identify. It could be a smile, it could be just something little that you did or somebody did to make the life of another person good. So when you look back, there is always something to hold on to. So every day may not be good, but there is something good in every day. Victor.
All right. So today let's talk about, you talked about matters health. Yes. And Vivian, I think we've talked about matters health in this country for a very long time, including yesterday when we talked about the issue to do with SHA and everything that we need to understand about it. And today I want us to talk about transforming the health sector and also looking at how the Kenyatta National Hospital, the biggest referral hospital, is being transformed into what it is supposed to be. I'll be talking to Dr. Richard Lesiampe, who is the CEO, Kenyatta National Hospital. There was a leadership transition not too long ago, almost a month ago, and today I want us to take a look at what are some of the steps that are being taken to transform the health sector as well as Kenyatta National Hospital. So stick around for that. What are your questions when it comes to SHA, emergency services, when it talks about the welfare, when it talks about the security in that facility? We've had so many. He'll be here to answer all those questions. So stick around. How about I start with the front page of the local dailies as I welcome my guest on set. On the front page of the Standard, playing Ruto. That's what I have here on the front page of the Standard, playing Ruto. Who are the two gentlemen on the front page? We have got President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga. That is on the front page, playing Ruto. Okay, on the front page of the Standard says that Raila Odinga's shifting signals have thrown ODM into turmoil, leaving allies baffled. Opponents wary of supporters unsure whether the party stands with the government or opposition. While defending President Ruto's policies on one hand and hinting at 2027 ODM presidential bid on the other, the enigma of Kenyan politics has unleashed confusion that threatens to fracture his party and cloud the nation's political horizon. So many people are not so sure on what is happening. And over the week, on Monday, they had ODM members at a meeting where Honorable Raila Odinga said that their stand is to go up till 2027 with President William Ruto. They have no any other arrangement thereafter. So that is what I'm having here on the front page of the Daily Nation. It continues to say that SHA officials pose as patients in bid to silence protesting hospitals. Talk about SHA, talk about the CEO of KNH. He'll also help us to understand that what is happening with SHA. Healthcare providers say that SHA officials are disguising themselves as patients to spy on hospitals. Okay. Instead of paying claims, the government is accused of launching a coordinated campaign of fear. That is what I have here on the inner pages of the Standard newspaper. The other issue here I have his teachers demand assurance ahead of SHA medical shift. Remember, I had Collins Oyu, who is the NAT SecGen, last week, and he talked about the teachers' welfare and insurance. We talked about it, and here now there is a demand for teachers' assurance of SHA medical shift. And he says that the Teachers Service Commission medical scheme was working well. The real issue was the government's failure to remit funds to Minet, that is preventing hospitals from offering services. That's according to NAT SecGen Collins Oyu. And he said that the officials of the union were working hand in hand with the government to ensure that everything is done well. Raila's flip-flops rattle Ruto, ODM camp ahead of general election. Raila's recent remarks that Orange Party may have a candidate in 2027 has thrown politics into a spin. Analysts also say that he could be strategizing or strategic or maybe trying to save face after rising dissent in the party. That is what I have on the front page of the Standard. Very quickly, on the front page of the Star newspaper, how Raila is plotting for 2027. Oh, okay. Again, more or less the same on the front pages. How Raila is plotting for 2027 top race. That is what I have here. The backing UDA without power sharing deal could hurt ODM. Backing UDA without power sharing deal could hurt ODM. Okay, that's on the front page, and then it also continues on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. And again, the president is still in the U.S., was in the U.S., and he had meetings, sideline meetings with other leaders there, where the issue of Haiti was discussed at length when during the United Nations General Assembly. IPOA in ambitious plan to tame rights abuse by cops. Again, last week, I had the Vice Chair, Anne Wanjiku, who was here, Vice Chair of IPOA was here, and she said that IPOA is going to work hand in hand to make sure that cops who abuse human rights face full force of the law individually. Okay. Again, Kenya to enjoy free park entry on Saturday. We talked about it here. That is World Tourism Day. And the CS, Rebecca Miano, said that on Saturday it will be free for all KWS manned and managed national and game reserves in the country. All right. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Nation, a nation in crisis. That's what I have here on the front page of the Daily Nation. A nation in crisis, from healthcare to education to counties. Again, families, that's from education to healthcare to public system is in turmoil, with the government struggling to quell unrest. Let's talk about the issue to do with health, and the issue to do with the private hospital turn away patients unable to pay cash after cutting credit to SHA, citing past deaths, and now tutors and police are face denial of services. Education and counties, some people say that they don't have money in their respective counties. Talk about healthcare. I have the CEO of Kenyatta National Hospital. It's my pleasure to have you on the show, Daktari Richard Lesiampe. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Victor.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
In my language, they say suba.
Yes, and we respond suba.
Suba eva.
Suba.
Karibu sana. Yeah. How are you doing, and how is KNH?
Thank you very much for inviting me here.
Yes.
To come and tell Kenyans about this great facility. Kenyatta National Hospital is the second largest hospital in Africa.
Yes.
I know people have been talking about Kenyatta National Hospital being the largest in East and Central Africa. But I want to confirm today to Kenyans and the world that Kenyatta National Hospital is the second largest hospital in Africa in terms of bed capacity,
yes,
in terms of number of patients that are attended to, in terms of the infrastructure,
yes,
and also in terms of clinical outcomes, when you talk about specializations. So Kenyatta is doing well. We are there to serve Kenyans, and I can say that we are roaring to go.
Yes.
Yes.
You recently took charge of that facility. That's on August 18th, 19th, thereabout. Allow me to ask you how you're planning to turn around everything. I mean, it's one of the oldest and biggest referral hospitals in Africa. How are you planning to turn around the facility?
Fine, thank you very much. What I want to say is that this is my second coming to Kenyatta National Hospital. I was there 12 years ago. And Kenyatta National Hospital has tremendously expanded its services to Kenyans, in the last several years. For record purposes and for history, Kenyatta National Hospital is 125 years, next year.
Wow, okay.
Serving Kenyans, and serving Africans. And a lot has happened. But what I can say is that I'm only coming to, to build on the blocks of my predecessors and also of what the staff of KNH have done. One is that we have to make Kenyatta National Hospital the referral and the specialized hospital that it deserves to be, where it handles, the most complicated cases, most specialized cases, and therefore what we intend to do is to establish what we call centers of excellence. centers of excellence in specialized treatment. And for example, now we have identified about 30 centers of excellence, and we want to focus probably on the first 15. And we are looking at specialties or conditions that cannot be managed in any other referral facility or any other hospital in the country, or even sometimes conditions that cannot, that we refer our Kenyans to go probably outside this nation. For example, we are seeing that the issues of bone marrow transplants.
Yeah.
We want really to go into bone marrow transplants. This is a disease or a condition that is caused by sickle cell.
Yeah.
And this is very prevalent in Western Kenya, Nyanza, and also parts of West Africa. And no bone marrow transplant is done in Africa, in Kenya in particular. And we are seeing that we want to have Kenyatta National Hospital doing this. We are also saying that we need also to go into liver transplants. This is also not done in our country. We also have other conditions, particular intravascular, or less invasive, surgeries, specialized surgeries. We have done several. For example, I think we have done some very, very, high-level specialized, heart conditions or heart surgeries, almost 1,000 of them so far.
Yeah.
And we want actually to penetrate further, and go into these areas. So the point here is that we want to go specialization. We want to go super specialties to handle conditions that cannot be handled anywhere, within our region, and even probably, not being handled in Africa. And we have the capacity with the University of Nairobi, and other, great institutions within our country, Cambridge included, which are research institutions. We can indeed, build our capacities and our specialties, to a point whereby we can actually handle probably any human disease, that can confront us as a country.
Is KNH able to sustain itself financially when you talk about some of the changes and how you want to upgrade the hospital?
Yeah, the point of sustainability is a challenge, not only to KNH. Healthcare is very expensive.
Sure.
Management of diseases not very easy. And therefore, it's actually a challenge to every country. And the KNH included, we are saying that we have those challenges of sustainability, but we also have huge opportunities, to actually, mobilize resources for ourselves. For example, when it comes to areas of research, there is a lot of funding, in research, particularly in healthcare. And therefore, we are saying that it is possible for us really to sustain some of our engagements, some of our operations and even procedures with the support of research and also with the support of our national government. The other thing is that we also have opportunities not to generate revenues internally.
Yes.
I think last financial year, KNH generated about 9.8 billion. In terms of
target?
No. In fact, actually above target by around almost by 50%. And we are saying that with the expansion of services, with the more specializations, we have the potential to actually go up to 15 billion, in the next financial year. So the point here is that it is important not only even to look at the issue of revenues, but to see how do we actually reduce the disease burden in our country? How do we have access, of Kenyans to our services? How do we expand healthcare services? And I think that's actually very important and very paramount.
Yeah.
And therefore, what I can say is that we have huge opportunities, to get the resources. We also have, quite a number of partners, local and international partners who have always been very handy to come and support Kenyatta National Hospital. We have partners who have come on board to support us on oncology, issues of cancer. We have partners who have come even to provide us with infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have also international partners who are actually even supporting some very, very huge programs, projects. For example, we have what we call the Pediatric and Burns Unit, which cumulatively is costing us about 2 billion shillings to equip such an infrastructure. And we have international donors and supporters, partners, who are actually ready to support us in this area.
Yeah. The issue of leadership and governance, Dr. In the past, KNH faced a lot of, suffered some kind of leadership wrangles in the board of management, etc. How is it right now? And probably, if it's okay, how are you planning to sustain it?
Yeah, it's never smooth sailing, when it comes to issues of governance and leadership. What I can say is that I was not there, when these rangos were there. Of course, I'm a Kenyan and I was reading this in the papers.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep it was. But I think what is very, very important is to really develop framework of engagement. For example, I think it should be very, very clear what's the role of a board. And it's very, very clear in our documentation, the policy or the role of the board is actually policy, it's actually supervision, and that kind of thing. The operations of a running of an institution is usually left to the top management. And I think if this is put very, very clearly,
yes,
and everyone, takes their role and responsibility, I think it becomes very, very easy to manage this. Therefore, for me, one thing I want to say that this is not my first time to be in KNH. This is not the first time to be involved in having boards. I've also been a board member. I've also, in the past also participated, as a CEO in other organizations.
Yeah.
And what I can say is that with that experience, with that knowledge, I'll find a way of navigating, and tolerating, and how best to ensure that the roles of the boards are very, very clear, the role of management is very, very clear, and that all of us are focused on actually delivering the mandate and the vision of an institution. Yes.
Okay. You talked about having the best and biggest bed capacity. What is the current bed capacity at KNH?
We are shy 10 beds to 2,200.
Wow, okay.
That is 2,198 to be very specific. Yes.
Are you able to, in most cases, you'll find that many patients will come, but they'll be referred somewhere else. What could be the reason in terms of admissions?
Yeah, occasionally we have challenges in certain specialties. For example, critical care units, where ICU bed capacity is about 100 beds.
Yeah.
And we have requests, across the country, probably about another 100 beds for ICU patients. And therefore, that's one of the challenges we have, and that's why sometimes we turn back patients, who require ICU management. However, we are now putting in a strategy to ensure that we have almost, in fact, being a 2,000-bed hospital, we are required to have at least 250 ICU beds. So what we are doing is that we have started a journey of, putting ICU beds in almost every floor, or in almost every specialty. So for medical floors, for medical conditions, we are planning to have at least 5 or 10 side beds. For surgicals, we are planning to have another 5 or 10 beds. So that at the end of the day, we are going to have probably about 250 ICU beds, to manage, the requirements of our nation.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it also requires, substantial resources. One, the cost of an ICU bed. You can't get an ICU bed which is less than 5 million shillings. One bed, because of what it's expected to do. Similarly, you also require, staff, particularly nursing. Nurses, you need one nurse to a bed,
yes,
particularly for critical patients. But sometimes you can also have 2 nurses for 3 beds. So what we are saying is that we have to have a plan for the next 5 to 10 years on how we can actually, expand our critical care. But as we speak now, the last 1 month I've been around, we have transformed our accident and emergency center to become what we call an international trauma center. We are no longer calling it A&E.
Yeah.
It's called an international trauma center. And what it means here is that we are going to be handling all trauma, and emergency cases in that particular space. We used to have about 12 critical care beds. As we speak now, we have expanded by just breaking a few walls here and there, internal barriers. And now we have another capacity of about another 13 beds, within that facility, connected to ventilators, monitors, and including oxygen. Then we have separated, the medical cases, from the trauma center.
Yeah.
Now we have used another facility just next to the hospital there, yes, or that next to accident and emergency. We are now calling it emergency medical center. So medical cases are handled separately from the trauma and accident.
Is that
case.
part of the modernization? The
Yes,
current
it
modernization
is part
process?
of the transformation that we are undertaking as we speak now.
Okay.
Yes.
When you talk about that, Dr., let's talk about staffing and human resource. So how are you going to fill the gap and the deficit, or probably the nurses, the doctors you're talking about, so that you have got patient to doctor ratio in place?
Yeah, thank you very much, Victor. The point here is that we have set, workloads, and we also have WHO requirements. It has never been easy to do this. However, what we have done is, speaking of the first 1 month I've been there, and I intend to have 100 days of mine, now to transform and change.
Promise us you'll be here.
Yeah?
Promise us you'll be here for 100 days.
Yes, I promise,
Thank you.
I'll come here after 100 days.
All right.
One thing that we want to look at is the issue of human resources. One, and I think for record, the most important asset in any organization is the human resources.
Yes.
It is the people. It is actually how you manage these people. It's indeed how you inspire and motivate them. It's indeed how you recognize them, how you appreciate them, how you reward them. And on instances of sanctions, how also you sanction them. And therefore, what I've done is that, for example, I've decided to realign staff, asking them, those who have whatever specialties should actually be in their areas of specialties. Those who have got their certain skills and competencies, they should actually be realigned to those areas. Because that's the only time they can actually unleash their potential. That's the only time they are actually very passionate of what they are doing because of what they have been trained on. And therefore, this process is going on. It will take about 3 months. If you are an nephrology nurse,
yes,
handling kidney disease conditions and even dialysis, you should not be in any other space. You should be in that area. You should actually, be supported to improve your skills there. You should be promoted there, and if you are to be disciplined, you should be disciplined there.
Yeah.
So what we are trying to do now is actually to realign staff with their potential to be in those areas. In terms of getting additional staff, we are also working around the issue of workloads to see, what are the optimum numbers required and what are the minimum number required. When the time comes, if we need actually to add more, we'll actually go ahead and do that. However, there are also other interventions. You can also go through what we call locums, having people on part-time depending on the seasons, and therefore, this is something that we are going to do. However, I think as I've mentioned, the more we become specialists, the more we focus on specializations, then we can allow other low-level institutions also to build their capacities. And therefore, get us off the load of handling, other conditions that can be handled at the level 5 and level 4. Then we are left to actually handle specialist conditions. And that probably will actually reduce, the number of general staff we require, general doctors, general nurses, and we actually go for specialization.
Okay, let me ask you this question. You've been there before. I appreciate the fact that times have changed. From where you were last time until now, you are back there. But what are some of the qualities that you'd want to bring 11 years ago and you want to copy-paste now, or what are some of the things you'd want to drop to make KNH better?
One, it is true. 12 years ago is a long time. And a lot has happened, in KNH. In fact, a lot of expansion. I think we now have a great cancer center, specifically to handle oncology and those kind of conditions. We also have, bankers. I think 2 bankers now have been built, to allow us to actually have radiotherapy machines so that we can, deal with the, cancer treatment, in a more specialized manner and get us great outcomes. A lot has happened.
Yes.
I think for me, what I can say, and this does not change at any other time, is indeed to see how best we can actually inspire and motivate our staff. The issue is employees. The most important assets are the employees. If these individuals can actually be given an amiable, conducive working environment, provided with the instruments and the equipment that they need, those guys can turn around the institution. It has nothing to do even with me. And therefore, my focus will be to light fire in the souls of our men and women in that institution, not below their feet. And I can tell you for free, they will become innovative. Those actually who are in the clinical areas. Those who are in non-clinical areas will become creative. They will actually be the ones suggesting on how best we can become more efficient. So there are a few things that I wanted to have my staff, for example, pick up. One is the issue of technology. Healthcare, technology in healthcare is transformative. In fact, in some parts of the world now, we are talking about robotics. We are talking about telemedicine. We are talking about, using technology, you know, to undertake, you know, certain, you know, even certain procedures. And therefore, to me, I want to start introducing the issue of telemedicine, introducing issues of robotics, you know, to our staff. And I think I can't do this without necessarily, you know, giving these staff the capacity, building their capacity. You know, we cannot do this without involving the University of Nairobi.
Yeah.
You know, we can't do this without involving Cambridge and other institutions, and other institutions that can support us. We can't do this without supporting, without getting support from our Minister of Health in our government.
Okay.
And therefore, issues of transformation, particularly when it comes to that. The other thing is that, as I've mentioned, is the issue of getting instruments, getting equipment.
Yeah.
We have to have all the necessary equipment. For example, as we speak now, when I was there, I think we got the first LINAC, or LINAC for management of cancer. That machine has served us very well. In fact, with another one called Cobalt, you know, the two of them. The cancer burden has increased in our country. And therefore, those two machines cannot really help us. So for me, it's now to ensure that we actually get, you know, another 2 LINAC machines for radiotherapy, for cancer treatment.
Okay.
Now, the waiting period has been long. So I want to see to it that, you know, with my staff, we can actually cut down the waiting period, that you come in, you know, within a week, you're actually going through radiotherapy. Similarly, on issues of dialysis, I think we have done quite well in that area, but we don't have enough equipment. We are seeing that we need to get additional beds. And I think this can also be done, not necessarily by buying them, but even going through placements, you know, issues of leasing. The game changer also at the end of the day, in terms of dialysis and kidney condition, is actually transplant.
Yeah.
And I think we have done very well so far. I think we have we have done almost 300 transplants, and we have the capacity now actually.
In what period of time?
Yeah, I think for the last 10 or 15 years or so.
Okay.
So what we are saying is that we need to, you know, build our capacity in transplanting, so that, you know, the kidney patients with kidney challenges will actually get transplant, and they can be done in Kenya, not necessarily going out of this country. That will also be a great game changer for us. So I think from where I was last time, I can also tell you for free, Victor, that during my time we also had a very, very challenging situations during the Al-Shabaab, you know, where we used to have, you know, matatus being hit with grenades, you know, right, left, center. I recall I went through 24 disasters, you know, during my 2-year term, you know, in KNH. That's 2010, 2011, 2013. You know, Sanchangwan, you know, remember?
I remember.
You know, the Sinai fire.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that that's why I think I learned from that lesson. And that's why today we are transforming A&E to become an international trauma center, so that we don't go through similar challenges in the past, you know, and today.
Doctor, allow me to ask you this question. In the past, we've had cases of insecurity in KNH. Does that really worry you? Some of them are still in court. I just want to leave it at that. But patients, you know, allegedly, you know, losing their lives in the hospitals in unclear circumstances. How are you making sure that the biggest referral hospital is safe for me and you and Wanjiku watching out there?
Yes, thank you very much, Victor. Those 2 incidents were very unfortunate. And I want to say it from here, as my Minister, Honorable Duale, actually apologized to Kenyans, that hospitals should be the safest havens for sick people. It should not be an environment where we lose lives, and particularly, you know, in such brutal manner. And therefore, it worries me as a CEO of KNH. I have 2,000 patients, you know, sleeping there every night. You know, sometimes about 20,000 coming daily. And therefore, the issue of security is very paramount. In fact, now as you speak, it's actually part of our values, you know, at KNH. Safety and security of our patients and our staff. And therefore, we are putting a robust mechanism. 1, we have now CCTV cameras all across the hospital. You know, 2, we have also refreshed and retrained some of our security staff. We have some who are employees, and we have others who are actually, you know, outsourced. And we have also gone ahead to ensure that, you know, visitors coming to visit their patients, all of them are screened, and we are allowing only 2 relatives or 2 visitors to see a patient at a time. And therefore, this has actually helped us, you know, to ensure that we secure, you know, the patients who are in the hospital, and also even our staff. However, we are going ahead to see whether we can actually introduce technology where we have got biometric, you know, where you come in, you know, you can even log from outside that you're actually coming to visit a patient in Ward 9A, and from there you can actually begin access. Then you only come there with your thumbprint, you know, you are allowed access, and you come out. and we can also see that we have come out, at a particular time. So we want to advance this, to a point where we are going to have the biometrics to help us ensure that, those who visit our patients are people who are actually their relatives and that our patients are secure.
All right. Doctor, again, the issue of SHA, allow me to ask you this. How are you handling SHA? Because we've seen it across patients saying that some of them are not able to be attended, using their SHA cards and all that. Is KNH up to task?
Yes, what I can say is that at KNH, let me also start by saying this. Any new system, any new equipment, any new policy, anything that is introduced, in one way or another, has teething problems, has challenges. I'm not here to talk on behalf of the CEO of SHA, because I think she has the opportunity to come and discuss and maybe even explain this further. But what I can say is that being also a Kenyan and being a senior citizen, we have to acknowledge that these challenges could be there. The only thing is that how fast can we confront them? How fast can we overlap these challenges? And therefore, even for us, before I came to KNH, I was actually in Jaramogi Oginga Odinga teaching at the Federal Hospital, and that's where the first time I confronted SHA. And we embraced it. And we actually, established a whole department to manage SHA, a whole department to manage patients who come in to register for SHA. We even went ahead, to have a unit or to have individuals who will actually help, Kenyans to register in the hospital. So that those who cannot even register themselves, we can actually help them on how to register.
Are you doing that right now at KNH?
I've already arrived here 1 month ago. I've established a whole department now, managing SHA, with about 12 officers.
What is the uptake? The progress?
So as we speak now, I think what's very critical here is this. If a patient comes in and they have no SHA, and maybe because of an emergency, you can't deny this patient, treatment. This patient probably cannot even talk. Some of these patients probably have lost even their phones. So what we do is that we admit, we treat, admit, then within 24 hours, we have individual staff now going around to check all patients who are admitted without SHA, now to engage them to see how they can start registering SHA. And I can tell you for free, Victor, is that this has been tremendous. It has given us a lot of leeway, whereby we have reduced, the number of patients without SHA almost about 30%, because of this engagement. So the point here is, in fact, as we speak now, tomorrow, in fact, I'm talking about tomorrow.
Yes.
I've already established, there was an office space for NHIF, I think on our first floor, a big space there. I've actually, SHA has removed their furniture, they have removed their space there. I'm actually going to establish as a SHA office for all SHA issues, pre-authorization, registration, queries, and everything. And I will have staff, in that area to support these people. One thing is that, let's acknowledge, it has never happened in this country in the past, beside SHA, beside NHIF, to have a situation whereby, patients come and register the same day, and you actually treated the same day. Even NHIF, you have to actually to pay and wait maybe for a month before you can actually access treatment. With SHA, you come there sick, you register, you pay, you actually, serve. And I can tell you for free at Jaramogi, I had very, very serious cases, particularly neurosurgery, brain operations, spine operations through a medical camp. This cost 300,000, 400,000. Patients could come that day, register with SHA 6,000 or 7,000, pay, and they actually undergo a surgery costing 300,000.
Do you have the issue of reimbursement?
Yes, we do. One thing is that we are being reimbursed, I think on monthly basis, every 14th, 15th of the month, we are getting reimbursed, including last week. In fact, this week, we were also reimbursed.
Okay.
Yeah, and therefore, the point here is that we might not probably be getting 100% reimbursement, but we are getting something, at the end of the day, that can make us move the next month.
Okay.
So we believe that, I think progressing well forward is that, if we are going to put in a proper mechanism to ensure that everyone who comes to the hospital is actually registered with SHA, we are going to provide them with all the services required.
Dr. We have 100 days to celebrate. And you've promised that you are going to be here in the next 100 days. We'll give you a chance. But what are you prioritizing in the next 100 days? That is like in 3 months after that. What are you going to block in that period?
Yes, I've said several things. One, we are going to establish these centers of excellence in almost every specialization. that we are going to ensure, for example, I think we make sure that before the end of this year,
yes,
we also conduct a liver transplant at KNH. Historically, it has never happened.
Great.
Tomorrow, 25th, we have an operation that probably has never been done in the world. That's going to be conducted tomorrow, and I think you have seen in the media. We have a maxillofacial surgeon, from the University of Nairobi and KNH, who are going to reconstruct a face, the jaws of a 7-year-old boy who was shot at the borders of Isiolo and Meru, where he lost the whole jaw, both of them. And this reconstruction is going to be done tomorrow, whereby it is going to implants will be used. I think the whole face will be reconstructed to a point whereby that fellow can actually that young man can actually probably go back to school. It's I think the last time this was done was, I think, in 1895. In the US. This we have already, I think 2 weeks ago, we also brought the press to see it, and our doctors will explain. In fact, tomorrow we are also going to do that.
Okay.
So we are saying that every specialty, in fact, for example, I think we are also saying we want to start robotics. We might not do as much, but we can start some basics. We are saying that our trauma center will become the best. We are going to decongest accident and emergency or A&E. There will be no stretchers on the corridors. Give me the 100 days, and I will also take you to KNH to go and see.
Thank you.
Yes.
Doctor, I promise that I'll be there with you. I promise I'll be there, and I'll have to witness that. Thank you so much. In the next 100 days, we promise that you'll be here on the same set. We'll talk about it, the achievements. That will be an interesting surgery to be done at KNH. It will be a breakthrough, and we wish you all the best. And even the doctors and the patient, all the best. Thank you so much, Daktari. We have to leave it there. But you remember, we want to talk about accountability and audit. And KNH has also faced a lot of audit queries. And do you know the Member of Parliament of Kibra? KNH is in Kibra constituency.
Yes.
The Member of Parliament is here. He's coming on stage next.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That has been Dr. Richard Lesiampe, who is the CEO of Kenyatta National Hospital, talking to us matters healthcare sector in the country and how he intends to turn around the entire system at the KNH. Stick around. We'll be right back with more.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we
have to do it twice.
I got a steak.
Steak iko wapi?
This is what?
Una nyama?
Yeah.
Una nyama? Hiyo ni ngozi na mfupa. Peke yake hakuna nyama hata moja hapo. Basi nao ni mjinga mama, wote ataje shilingi 50 alafu uje ukutema nyama yote alafu kae chini ule.
So lakini mbali na hivyo tena wacha hivyo. Hata kupikia kwao, hata kupikia kwao. Stakula haramu mimi.
Kama ule mtu wa maji ule upita akimuitaita.
Ukweli nilikuwa nasahau.
Very great pleasure to welcome you all to the formal inauguration of the National Constitutional Conference here at the Bomas of Kenya. The review process has a long history. A phase of that process began in this very chamber on the 11th of May, 1998. The more formal process that we are now engaged upon started in November 2000 and has now reached its final and critical stage. The purpose of the review is to enable Kenyans to adopt a constitution which responds to the needs and their aspirations. In particular, the Constitution of Kenya Review Act requires the new constitution to uphold and promote national unity, democracy, good governance, the rule of law, human rights, and social justice.
All right, welcome back. It's now time for us to talk about matters accountability and, of course, audit reports. After that, it's great that the Member of Parliament of Kibra, where KNH is also situated, is already on set with me, and I'll talk about that briefly as well. What he's doing in his constituency to ensure that the hospital is also in good hands. Of course, I know he's in good hands. Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Morning.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
The biggest referral hospital is in your constituency, and you've heard the way CEO has spoken. I don't know what your administration is doing also hand in hand with KNH to uplift it.
I think Lesiampi is one of those people. I think it was there sometimes back.
Exactly.
11 or so years, and he's a reform-minded person.
Mm-hmm.
And he has some history on management. I think it's a good opportunity for him to come back again, especially now that we have a lot of challenges within the health sector. You know, the health sector is trying to bring a new programs in terms of SHA, and Kenyatta being the biggest hospital, referral hospital in this country, we'll have to get as many patients as possible. And I think this is where this SHA system will be tested. And now that the doctor is here, we only expect that he's going to make Kenyatta Hospital one of those hospitals where everybody else would want to go. You know, we have had challenges in terms of lack of enough nurses within the hospital, not adequate doctors to serve the Kenyan people. We have been lacking in numbers. But with him and with his assurance that he is going to increase the capacity even of the ICU within the system, I think it's a good start for a new CEO. We are going, as the Member of Parliament, we are going to work hand in hand and see how best this hospital, because it is found within Kibra constituency, we have just changed the numbers, and we'll have to see that we give Kenyan people, not just Kibra people. Kibra is just hosting this institution, but it is the best institution. In fact, when you ask me the best hospital in this country, I would always say it is Kenyatta National Hospital, because that is where we have the authentic doctors, doctors who are employed to do their work there throughout the day, not part-time day. And we have the best doctors. They're the ones teaching at the University of Nairobi, majorly, most of the doctors, the professors that we have in Kenyatta Hospital. And the facilities in Kenyatta also are amazing. When you go to the private wing of Kenyatta Hospital, it's an amazing block. And the doctors there, you know, some of these hospitals do not have permanent doctors. They have doctors on call. I would not name the hospitals, but the big hospital you think about, they just have doctors on call. But Kenyatta National Hospital has permanent doctors.
Resident doctors.
And resident doctors. The only thing we need to do as a Kenyan government is to facilitate these doctors, ensure that they have conducive environment to serve the Kenyan people, and make sure that Kenyatta is given the due attention that it deserves.
And perhaps what you're talking about can also be replicated in all the hospitals across the country, because it's a big problem right now.
There you are. You know now health is a devolved function.
Yeah.
And Kenyatta Hospital is a symbol of unity of operations of the health sector, because now it is still under the national government, because it is a national hospital. But we expect that our governors, with the opportunity that they have and with the devolved finances, they need to create more Kenyatta National Hospitals in various counties. And I think this is a viable endeavor. We need to have a better hospital. He has just said he has come from Jaramogi Odinga Center, which was upgraded to, what is it called?
Another
referral hospital.
Yes.
Is it level 6 hospital? Which is like a parastatal. I think all the counties need to have those kind of hospital, level 5 and level 6, if that is to be, so that our people get proper medication, they get proper treatment. Long time, you could not get any hospital. You could only be referred to Kenyatta National Hospital. But now we also have KU, a referral hospital. We have Eldoret. Now we have Jaramogi. So we need to have these hospitals in almost all the counties, because it is a devolved function in the current constitution. So I think that is what we will ensure with the Kenyatta National Hospital. We will see as a constituency, if there is anything that we can contribute to help the Kenyan people in terms of getting proper medication, then I think we'll go out of our way to try and help and do.
You're right. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was actually designated at level 6 hospital, which is also one of the referral hospitals.
So my mind did not...
Very sharp.
Yes.
Wishma, let's talk about accountability and audit queries. You sit in Parliament, and members of Parliament, you have got a lot of work to do when it comes to accountability and actualizing the audit reports that comes from the Auditor General's office. Let me start by asking you this. We are still waiting for Ronald Bossi. Ronald Bossi is FSPA and also a member of the Ronalds and Associates. He'll be here shortly. But let's talk about the issue of audit queries. Most of the time we see the Auditor General giving her report, the office giving the reports. But the implementation bit is where the problem is. Where is the problem?
Thank you. You've just reminded me, yesterday we had special audit report on the Ministry of Education as Education Committee. Yes. We had requested that we needed a report on various areas, especially on capitation of the school. We also asked about the textbooks, the edu healthcare for schools, and many other areas. So the whole of yesterday morning, from 10 to 1,
yes,
we had the audited reports. But to my surprise, that report to us as Education Committee did not meet the threshold of what we wanted to be found out. Because the auditor himself was referring to annexes which were not even attached. So we were not able to follow, really, exactly how that audit was carried out.
Yes.
In fact, we stood him down as Education Committee to come next week with a good report so that we could be able to analyze, compare if there were receipts that were done, if the schools were there. So I think, again, as much as the Office of the Auditor has normally given comprehensive reports on various critical issues and various counties, various constituencies, various sagas of the government, various departments of the government. But yesterday in the Education Committee, it fell short of our threshold.
What was your expectation?
Our expectation was for us to see that if this money was received, how many schools did not receive this?
What was the amount? for clarity?
Not exactly. We had various, not just a particular school.
Yeah.
We were looking at, this capitation has had a big problem. We have said that maybe sometimes not all the capitation reaches some schools. So we expected that those schools which got capitation, suppose there were 3,000, we wanted to see that these 3,000 received this much. And these 200,000 did not receive any amount of capitation. And when we also looked at the books, you would realize that maybe 3,000 secondary schools never received the textbooks. And maybe 2,000 received excess textbooks. We needed the annexes to see which are these schools which received excess textbooks. So, when you are doing auditing, we have to compare the various annexes and the presentation of the auditor. So this never happened. So our expectation, I think next time when you call me, we'll try and discuss really what do they give as audited report. But let's come to your question about the implementation. I think when we discuss these reports as a parliament, we need to do it with a tooth comb and see the areas that that as Kenyans expect we do the oversight role for these areas. But you will realize sometimes when these reports come, maybe the members of parliament, including myself, maybe the members of parliament, we do not take enough of our time to go through these audited accounts step by step. And I think if we do this as the members of parliament and give recommendations to the executive, it is our recommendations that will be used by the executive to implement some of these requirements within the report. I think as members of parliament, we need to put our foot down, and if there are audit queries, we need to have a mechanism of following these audit queries with the respective sagas of the government, where the sagas are those agencies of the government or departments of the government for that matter. So I think that as members of parliaments, we need to be very vigilant and we need to exercise high level of authority in terms of oversighting the executive. Because when we oversight properly, then we will have these audited accounts implemented. And if they are not implemented, it is our duties as members of parliament to call particular CSS and PSS in those departments to come and account for those audit queries within the parliament. So I think this is where there has been a bit of laxity. But I'm not saying that we are not calling the PSS and CSS. Every Wednesday in the afternoon is called the question time, like today. All the questions will be put to various ministries, and the CSS are called to come. And they must respect that. For those who don't respect, there are other areas that we use as the organs of the parliament.
The Auditor General also raised some questions to do with counties having numerous bank accounts, close to 200, 300, some of them even 500 bank accounts. And she raised an issue to do with that opens the window for public funds not to be properly used, theft and misappropriation of public funds. Mheshimiwa, from the legislative arm of government, does this also worry you?
Of course, not just as the legislative arm of the government. It worries all Kenyans. We are representatives of the Kenyan people, and this is just delegated to us to ensure that we voice the concerns of the common wananchi through parliament. And I think being the case, this has been debated, the senators oversight the counties. And I think the last 2 weeks we have had some governors trying to explain why they have many bank accounts. And it is 558. It is not imaginable. Others have 14. Others have 20. I think those are normal within the counties, because a county is also a government on its own. But when we are talking of those numbers, it becomes a bit suspicious.
Okay.
And as you could see that the senators really interrogated those governors just to find out why. In fact, I was listening. I listened to those debates myself. And there were auditors claimed that there were ghost workers in some counties. And somebody said that a ghost is somebody who has died. So they are paying people who are kind of dead. That is why they are a ghost. I don't know how they are receiving the monies when they are dead. But in terms of legislation...
Yes. Can you take a quick break?
I don't mind.
It's 7:30.
Thank you.
Let's take a break and have our cups of coffee, as also welcome Ronald Bossi on set shortly. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more.
Are you a talented artist? Or are you passionate about a topic you want to discuss? But money can be very hard to find for an upcoming artist. Don't worry, Studio Mashinani has got your back. Sign up on ajira.co.ke to book a session with your music and video producers across the country. Work on your music, jingles, spoken words, and even podcasts to realize your dream. All for free. Studio Mashinani, Radani Talent.
وبحجبها بتتباهى يا طاقة نور ما فيش منها. Masjid ni kitovu cha mshikamano. Ni mahali ambapo familia nzima hukutana, vijana hujifunza stadi za maisha na watoto hukua wakilelewa katika misingi ya imani. Kila mmoja anajisikia sehemu ya familia kubwa ya kijamii. Ni mshikamano huu unaoendeleza tumaini.
Sidqul hadithi, ukweli katika mazungumzo na katika vitendo. Asa Mtume anasema je, shikamaneni na ukweli, kwa sababu ukweli yahdi ila albirri, unamuongoza mtu katika mema na mazuri.
Unakula halal ukiwa unachunga amana, basi bila shaka Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala atakuwa ni mwenye kupatia furaha hapa duniani na kesho akhira.
Welcome back. I now have Ronald Bossi, who is a managing partner at Ronald's Africa. He's already on set. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, in 1 minute, I asked Bushmiwa the issue of implementation to do with the audit reports. Where the problem is, and perhaps for Wanjiku to understand, as an auditor, you'll do your work day in, day out, write reports, present it to the relevant bodies and all that. But now when it comes to the actual implementation of these reports, now that's where we slam the brakes. Why?
Yeah, thank you. Because one of the things that the government came up with, the initiatives that were being implemented by the Chief of Staff, Kipkoske, is to ensure that there is zero audit issues. So trying to 100% fast track the queries that are arising from the Auditor General on various government entities and of course the county government also. But we've not seen that being fast-tracked subsequently in terms of holding those who are in office and, of course, those who are the accounting officers accountable for implementation of those issues. But one of the things that I see, especially from the interactions between the Senate and the county government, is the level of incompetency in the county government in terms of the accounting staffs and the finance staffs. I believe the biggest challenge is that what you realize that because hiring in the county government has been more of a political process rather than meritocracy taking center stage. If you look at it, they are struggling to actually address very basic issues that if you realize that these people, if they were very well prepared, there won't be issues. So one of the things is the competence gaps in terms of the level of professionalism with the county staff. Because if you hire people based on political process, you just want to reward them, then you don't have enough team to address even some of the most basic issues. And if you look at some of the queries, there are queries that can be addressed very well, and some of the figures don't make sense, they don't add up. But you realize that there's a bit of incompetence. And number two, the biggest challenge, of course, as we have as a country, is the aspect of consequence management. Meaning that are we holding accountable the accounting officers who are supposed to ensure proper accountability of the funds that they are attributed to? So you see, we've not also been very proactive in holding the accounting officers, who are the governors, accountable for that. So most often it looks like a pro forma process, that you'll come, you will try to explain things, and eventually it will be over. There isn't fast tracking in terms of consequence management, and most often is because of where are you in terms of the political regime. Of course, it's not really pushed under the carpet, because we've seen a number of governors still come there in court. We have one of the former governor of Kiambu who is answering to fraud questions and all that. Most of those things seemingly are pushed under the carpet until you have an issue or you have some political differences.
Do you have a problem with Parliament? You know, Member of Parliament Kibra's constituent is here.
Yeah.
And Mheshimiwa, we also talked about, before we took a break, we talked about the issue of several counties, a number of counties having several bank accounts, close to 300 up to 500 bank accounts.
Yeah.
Some of them are dormant for a number of years, some of them are duplicated bank account, etc., and duplicated roles. How are we planning to solve this, Mheshimiwa, so that we streamline it to just, the Auditor General also said that 10 bank accounts is not that bad.
Just my small sense thinking.
Yes.
I think we need to cap this, not just in the Constitution, but we need to bring a legislation on even how many bank accounts. When you look at, I like referring to education. The schools are allowed to have maybe 3 bank accounts only, so that they don't have others. When you go to the NGCDF also, they are given only a given number of bank accounts that they can operate. I think we need to have a policy on how many bank accounts the governors should be having, so that somebody cannot just come and have 50 bank accounts. What are they going to do with those 50 bank accounts? When the exchequer comes directly to the bank accounts, is it for the recurrent expenditure? Is it for development? Is it for the health? So we need to see the devolved functions, and maybe if we have 10 minutes devolved, if we have 12 the bank accounts maybe for health, then we only need to have those bank accounts for the devolved function, and maybe for the recurrent development and a few others. But we cannot have bank accounts as we wish in the counties. It is ridiculous. Even as Kenyans, why would you, even yourself, how many bank accounts do you need to operate as a person? You cannot operate. If you start operating more than 5 bank accounts, then we also say that there is something sinister. So we need, as a Kenyan people, And also, I would urge the Senate also, as they do their oversight role, that we need to dictate the number of bank accounts, not dictating in terms without legislation, dictating by bringing proper policies guiding or how these bank accounts should be operated, but also dictating that these governors must not open bank accounts as they wish. This is going to bring sobriety. It is going to bring effective management of finances. It is going to remove completely the suspicions that people have on these governors. And I believe with that, even the Auditor General's office will have an easier work to audit these counties. Because can you imagine 500 bank accounts, even the Auditor General for one county? How, and you see when you are auditing, whether it is debiting and crediting, whether it is a small bank, it is still a work to be done. So I think the counties should be encouraged not to have many bank accounts. Yeah.
Ronald, what do you say about that?
You see, the most important thing is what is the process of opening the bank accounts, and why are county governments motivated to have so many bank accounts? Most often it's because of perpetrating fraudulent transactions, so that to avoid the purview of the audit work. Because if you have 300 bank accounts, you have to almost securalize, if you're an auditor, securalize almost all the banks, which is quite tedious and takes a lot of time. And even some of the bank accounts might go unnoticed, unless you're very keen and you do like 100% vouching. So really what we are saying is that there must be a defined process of opening a bank account. And of course, a legal enforcement of that in terms of if you open bank accounts and procedurally, what are the consequences, especially through the trying to update and review the PFM Act, the Public Finance Management Act, to guide the procedure of opening bank accounts, so that it makes the audit more seamless and that all the financial transactions are brought into perspective. Because you've seen, especially talking about the county government, the biggest ill in the county government, I believe, one of the biggest ill is the issue of having ghost workers. That's what you're talking about. You've seen, like Nairobi County, jumping from 5,000 employees to 16,000 employees. You can imagine what are the procedures, and you realize that most of the funds that are supposed to go to capital are now going to recurrent, because they're just now paying salaries. Counties is one of the biggest and the most noble idea that this country ever had. But the biggest problem has been the efficacy of managing these counties, including opening unnecessary bank accounts, unnecessary procurements, pending bills that are building up, really making the business community suffer. So what we need to do is to say, what are the procedures? Yes. We need to entrench that in the PFM Act, and what are the various steps that you need to take in order to operationalize those bank accounts, so that those who open unnecessary bank accounts are brought to charge, and they are actually asked to, there's a constitutional process on how we be able to deal with them.
When you look at our topic, it's about public funds and the audit queries. But how important is this to the taxpayer, Wanjiku? Because the report, you and I can understand what the audit report is all about. What about Wanjiku? How important is this report? Because, for example, you got that report yesterday from the Education Committee. That touches basically everyone across the country. Mheshimiwa, let me start with you. How important are these reports? When you receive them, as a committee of parliament, you need to go deeper into it. You need to investigate where the funds were lost, the targets were met, etc., etc.
I think I started by saying that as a member of parliament, we are custodians of the interests of the people of Kenya.
Right.
And the interests of the people of Kenya, that is now what is called the interest of Wanjiku. We carry the mandate of the people to see really what they are supposed to see in these audit reports. In my thinking, I think the Auditor General should make reports that also we can carry out what is also called a public participation on this audit report. We must go and engage engage the people at the grassroots. After the audit reports have been produced, we need to go and engage the public to try and understand the effect and the impact of these audit reports on the lives of the Kenyan citizen, especially in terms of the economic awareness of the people of Kenya. Because if the funds that were meant for a certain duty or function has been embezzled, it means the Wanjiku is the one going to suffer. If these funds do not reach the intended purpose, it means therefore that the Wanjiku is going to suffer. So in our new constitution, there is a new phenomenon called public participation. My brother is here who has been auditor. He is auditing the Auditor General. We need to encourage them that they also carry public participation. But this requires finances. We need to allocate as members of parliament that when these audited accounts or reports are, before they are taken to the parliament, the Auditor General's office need to engage the public and see the impact of this on their monies, because these monies belong to the Kenyan people. It belongs to Wanjiku. So even before they are taken, like you saw when the CS for Treasury was trying to write bring about the bill, the finance bill, he had to go and engage the public. And when it has also been done, it should also engage the public. So I believe also the Office of the Auditor General, apart from us parliamentarians, that we are going to debate these audited accounts in Parliament. Sometimes, because of a barrier in terms of understanding, the members of Parliament will easily understand what is contained in the audited account, but we need to have a mechanism to go and explain to the Kenyan people what this audited report has brought up. If it is about embezzling of funds, we need to know, the Kenyan people need to know. And how are we going to rectify this? Because the purpose of audit is to give notice to those who are not operating within the framework of legal requirements, so that they actually do the right thing for the Kenyan people. They actually work with some ethics. We must have ethics in our work. So I believe that we must, as members of Parliament, also engage people we represent, especially when we receive these reports. I am saying, like now, yesterday we had reports on education. I should be able, if I go to my constituency, I should engage my people and tell them that these monies that were given to the Ministry of Education from the Exchequer, this amount was not used properly. These schools did not get the books that is required. These are the balances, so that they try to understand how the government operates and how people really, those who work on their behalf, whether they are following the right procedures in their stations of work or whether they are not following the right procedures.
Ronald, as you also comment on that, the issue of every time a report is brought out, do you recommend for prosecution of some sort?
Yeah, in terms of a report, you know, there's an external audit report.
Exactly, and the internal.
And then there is the forensic audit report. So most oftenly, when you talk about forensic, it means it is a report meant for litigation. But an external audit is to highlight discrepancies and inconsistencies in the financial statements, because the essence of an external audit is to give an opinion on the financial statement in terms of whether those financial statements, there is collaborating documents that adequately support them. But then that report leads to what we can call a forensic audit. If there are material discrepancies or significant discrepancies, and then it is important that those charged with governance should escalate to doing specialized audits, which we are calling the forensic audit. And those charged with governance are the Senate. The Senate needs to investigate those, to look into deeply into the reports of the counties, and then say those reports that have material discrepancies are related from the audit. If they're supposed to go to litigation, then they can undertake a forensic audit, unless the external audit also has presented significant evidence to show that there is fraud that can be relied on litigation process. But you know, most often from a practitioner's perspective, the external auditors report that it is not sufficient to do a litigation process, but it gives you insights into areas of fraud that then now the Senate, especially when it regards to counties, and then also the Parliament, especially when it regards to national entities, they need to make decisions on those, and the county assembly also needs to make decisions on the county government entities for the purpose of now taking necessary steps in terms of prosecuting those who have embezzled the funds. But what, just responding to what the Member of Parliament has said, and they said very important. The biggest challenge is when the Finance Act, the Finance Bill has been really popularized and effectively communicated, and a lot of people now understand that Finance Act is very disruptive in terms of taxes and all that. And it is always presented every year and with the budget. But what I've always said that in the presentation of the Finance Bill and the budget, can we amend the Constitution that it's also presented by an audit report? Because you see, like in an AGM, I'm assuming that the presentation of the budget is like an AGM for the whole country. Yes. So we are presenting the budget for the next financial year, and the Treasury will always say we are proposing to do that. Can it be accompanied by the government financial statements for the previous year with an audit report? What areas, because you see, we always plan budget for funds, but those funds are always misused, they're embezzled, and like you'll see, most of the almost 98% of the county audit reports are all qualified. They are, meaning that there is then defective opinions. And then we don't account for fraud, so we like budgeting for fraud. Because we budget.
Let him tell Kenyans. Let him tell, you know, some people think when they have qualified the accounts, they think it is good. So tell them that when they are qualified, what it means.
They are budgeting for fraud. That's a heavy statement.
Yeah, because you see, there are different types of audit opinions. There's what you call the unqualified audit opinion. If it's unqualified audit opinion, it means there have been no material discrepancies and the accounts are true and fair. And then there is what we call a qualified audit opinion. I've seen a number of even counties celebrating that they have gotten a qualified opinion, saying it's a good one. But a qualified opinion, it means that the evidence supported this, there were some also material discrepancies in the financial statements, and always there is a basis for a qualified opinion that highlights the significant issues that arose during the audit. Then we have another opinion which most governors get, is what we call the adverse opinion. Adverse opinion meaning that there are significant material elements in those accounts for the counties, and we always say they are pervasive, material and pervasive, meaning that you cannot even rely on those financial statements to make a good decision in terms of. But you see, you know, when you say the report is adverse, but we move on as if nothing is wrong, it's a big problem. And then now we have what we call a disclaimer, and some counties receive disclaimer, whereby we are saying even it is not possible to give an opinion on those accounts. It's quite a damning report. There is significant issues that needs to be addressed. So those are the four audit opinions: unqualified, which is an okay opinion; qualified, which is there are material issues but not very pervasive; adverse, which are very material and pervasive; and then disclaimer, which is you know, it's things that we cannot even make a decision on those financial statements. So if these financial statements are presented alongside the budget, and members are told, by the way, as the government budgets, in the last financial year, this is how they performed. There was this amount, billions of shillings in question, which then we should task the treasurer to do recovery. Before even that recovery should be part of the budget of the income for the next financial year. But see, the problem, we lose funds and then forget about it.
But then the question is, do we really get value from the audit reports, Mheshimiwa? Do we really get value out of that?
Of course, we get value. It's only that now it depends on the extent of the value.
Yeah.
Because without those audit reports, even a country cannot run. Without those opinions, the country cannot run. Like if, for example, a county has a disclaimer, in fact, because now he's an auditor, in fact, that county, if a county has a disclaimer, that governor should be impeached.
Of course, yeah.
Straight away should be impeached, because it means that their financial accountability does not even make sense. You can't even start. Yeah. That means the auditors are saying that they are not even able to make proper auditing of that county. Even when you have adverse reports, that is a red flag for the governors. And with those reports, we are saying that they add value, because from there, you have a stepping stone. You know where you can start from as a government. You know where you can start from as a county. You can reflect back and see really what you budgeted for. Has they been prudently utilized, the resources that you budgeted for?
Yeah.
And in fact, my colleague here is saying that before the budget, what we passed as parliament, you know, now the parliament is involved in budgeting, the committees, those budgets pass through the committees of parliament, then it is taken to all the members of parliament to approve budgets. But sometimes you realize that what we budget in parliament, when now, later on, when it is operationalized, you might realize that what we did in parliament is totally different from now what is being operationalized. Yeah. So it means also there is a bit of interference of the budgets from parliament by the executive, because this budget now goes back to the executive. So the final budget that comes, you might find that we have some variances with what was there in parliament. But what we are saying is that this audit reports gives a milestone. They give people to try and look at the operations deeply in terms of the financial statements, the resource utilization, prudent utilization of finances, investment of finances. It gives us a way also of measuring the ability of certain people who are charged with responsibilities in high offices. Okay. So that is why we must have audited reports.
Ronald, 15 years in business?
Yeah, 15 years running the practice, but I've been practicing for more than 20 years. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
How has it been? When you talk about the audit reports in Kenya and East Africa and continentally, how has it been, the run?
I believe there are countries that are doing better than East Africa. If you go to Rwanda,
yes,
because I operate across the region, in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Tanzania, and then more than other African countries. So Rwanda, they're doing very well in terms of trying to implement the audit. Actually, 94% of their audit reports are unqualified. Yeah, 94%.
Where?
Of their audit reports are unqualified.
Okay.
And so one of the things they do very incredibly, they publish accountability for every state organization to see how the funds has been utilized. And also the issue of holding accountable those who are responsible for various financial malpractices. So we need to entrench this in our practices, because if we are able to do that, and in Kenya, if we say we are the leading economy in East Africa, that doesn't need just to be reflected in our GDP. It needs to be reflected in our professionalism, especially in terms of the government services to people. So yeah, it's been so it's been incredible trying to offer assurance in the private practice where I've been also for a couple of years. If during every year there is an AGM of members, whereby they are presented with financial statements, and based on that AGM, members will vote for the incoming board members and the CEO, and they will actually, based on that, to renew his tenure.
And what are we looking at now as you get into your 15th year in business now?
The 15 years has been incredible. So what we are looking at for us as a practice is to try to support professionalism in public institutions. Remember, we have a mantle: growth, professionalism, and sustainability, the GPS. We always say that we are the GPS of organizations. Growth, professionalism, and sustainability.
Great.
So we are celebrating the 15th anniversary probably in this month of October. And we are looking at how do we strengthen accountability in the public practice and also in the private practice, and enhance professionalism and support sustainability. So we're looking at, because we've managed to support organizations and governments in the East African region, because also we work for the Auditor General of Uganda. We have had an incredible working for some of the state corporations, for some of the sub-counties in Uganda. And now we are working in some organizations in Tanzania and Rwanda. So we are looking forward, how can we spread our wings and be the Pan-African firm? Of course, currently we're also working for institutions in Zambia. We are working in West Africa. So trying to be the leading Pan-African firm across the continent, try to support organizations with regards to governance, better auditing practices in terms of professionalization and strategy formulations and risk and all other elements. Yeah, so it's been an incredible 15 years in practice.
Mheshimiwa is here. You can talk to him. Can you attend?
Yeah.
Can you attend? If you happen to celebrate that 15 years, Mheshimiwa is here. Invite us.
Thank you.
We'll be here to celebrate with you.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Mheshimiwa, people of Kibra, you went on recess, you disappeared. I decided not to call you because I know that's the point, to need time with your people. They're okay.
You know, when we are on recess, people do not understand. That is when we are even more busy, because we go for the committee meetings. They are even longer than when you look at our performance in the department. So even as we are on recess, we are still working, sometimes from Monday to Friday, except that now we don't go to the parliament for legislation. But I want to say thank you for, is it our last statements? Or we still have more time?
No, we are done. We are done.
It was that short. So I need to say, to greet my people of Kibra.
Absolutely.
You know that they are the people who made me be where I am.
Yes.
And I always say that I am here on their behalf. I carry their aspirations, and they are good people of Kenya.
All right.
So thank you for inviting.
Asante sana. Mheshimiwa Bitorero, Member of Parliament, Kibra constituency, and Ronald Bosi, who is the Group Managing Partner, Ronald's Africa, celebrating 15 years of service in the audit sector. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming to the show. It was all about public funds and the audit queries and what we really need to understand and why it is important to you as a taxpayer. I call Wanjiku. Asante sana. That's why we wrap it up. But we're taking a break. GMK continues after this. Good morning.
Nasikia una travel on Monday.
Nani wanapena hii information hivi?
Na muogopi Juliana?
Nilikuwa nazunguka tu kwa barabara na sio kwa nyumba za watu.
Uongo ni mbaya.
Sometimes uongo husaidia.
The best time sasa saa hii ni uende nyumbani.
Sasa ni saa ngapi msichana anatembea usiku shwali?
Si utasoma huko unanipeleka shule na gari yako kubwa.
Chindoro Mombera mwana.
Ma.
Amashitu tamba no shimunyoe.
wengine watasema niko na Friday night again.
Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside.
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we
have to do it twice.
Kila mwisho wa juma hapa katika runinga yako ya...
Wewe ndio Alphonse Makoha Makacha. Sasa ukiniambia wewe huko unanifanya hivi na mkono. Si ongea. Ai, mpelekeni mental hospital.
Umesema nilikuwa na wanyama hapo. Ni wanyama ulikuwa unakuja kutumia ama ulikuwa unakuja kutumia binadamu?
Acha kunipima akili yangu.
Wewe ndio unanipima. Kwani unafikiri mimi nataka kujua ni kilo ngapi? Ama uliona niko na talanta ya kuongea, si ndio? Ama ya kulia kama wanyama.
Hata kama uko na talanta, wewe anatumia hiyo talanta vibaya. Sikia mheshimiwa.
Hiyo hoteli ni yako?
Hapana.
Hapana. Wewe uliniwekea kuku hapo hivyo? Hapana. Did you serve me? Hapana.
Same question.
Sema kila kitu hapana.
Nini?
Watching Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migo. Thank you for tuning in. Let's now shift gears and talk about another important issue, and that is about food loss and waste. Given that now we are gearing towards the International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste, what can we do to mitigate the effects of food loss and waste? And also, given that Kenya loses over 40% of the food it produces, that means over 9 million tons of food is lost, which cost about 72 billion. That's a lot of money that is lost because of that. And to help me in that conversation in studio, I'm joined by Dr. Franklin Otiende Awor, who is a senior lecturer at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You're also a researcher at Afro Food Links Project. Yes. Karibu sana. And also Dr. Antonina Mutoro, who is also an associate research scientist. Karibu sana. Kwa salama hii asubuhi ya leo. First things first. You know, the fact that we lose 40% of the food that we produce as a country, what do you make of that, Dr. Franklin?
That is food lost, meaning some people will go hungry, income opportunities are lost, the environment is also endangered because this food will go to the environment, when not taken care of, will contribute to pollution and promote pests and such like unnecessary waste in the environment, aesthetic losses.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Antonina, what do you make of this? That the fact that we lose over 9 million tons of food, which means that is food that costs around 72 billion. What do you make of that?
It's a very unfortunate situation because, as we know, as a country and as a continent, we still grapple with food insecurity. In Kenya, at the moment, over 1 million people do not have access to food. In arid and semi-arid areas, when you look at urban areas, in the urban poor areas, there are studies which have shown that over 80% of the population does not have access to food. So the fact that you're having food loss and waste means that there's a missed opportunity to feed the most vulnerable populations.
Yes. Indeed. We're talking about food loss and waste. Dr. Franklin, if you differentiate between food loss and food waste.
Yeah. Food loss is basically food that we lose between harvesting and the market. So somebody has not yet bought it as food, so all that we lose within that process, harvesting, transportation, processing, then before it reaches market, that is what we refer to as food loss. Food waste, this is what somebody already bought as food, but then it is wasted. It is not serving the purpose for which it was bought. So it can refer to food being stored in the wrong environment. It is left to expire. It is not cooked well. Somebody served a lot, and then the rest are discarded. So food loss is between production and the market, and then food waste, the market and the household. Yes.
That's the difference. What do you think are the major contributors to food loss and waste, especially in Kenya, given that it's a country that we struggle with food security?
Yes, if I start with the food loss, we have a number of things that contribute to post-harvest losses. One of them is poor storage of our produce. So we harvest, we keep them in environments that are not safe. So either they're too wet, too moist, then food gets to rot. Some of them are due to pests that invade them where they're stored. Some of them include poor transportation mechanisms, so you heat them a lot. Some of them get spoiled during transportation, and these together contribute to food losses. Yes.
Dr. Antonina, when we talk about food loss and waste, why is it an issue that requires urgent attention, given that agriculture is one of the things that contribute to our GDP? Why is it an urgent matter that needs to be addressed?
Okay, food loss and waste has a negative impact on the environment as it has already been highlighted. We find that 8 to 10% of greenhouse gas emissions come from food loss and waste. And this translates to adverse changes in weather and climate. We've been experiencing extreme weather conditions. We have floods, drought, and food loss and waste actually contributes to that. And in the long run, you find that it's a cycle whereby we have adverse weather conditions. It has a negative impact on food production as well. But apart from that, we have a loss, wastage of resources, because to produce food, it means significant investment when it comes to land use, labor, inputs as well. So if food is not used as was intended, it means that we're also losing resources. But apart from that, there's also economic losses, as you highlighted earlier. We lose a significant amount of money through food loss and waste, and that's money that can be used for other can I say, developmental issues. Yeah, but a major thing that I'd like to highlight is just the fact that there are many people who do not have access to food, yet there's food that's being lost and wasted. So managing that can go a long way in ensuring food security.
You know, issues of food loss and waste might not seem as an issue. It might seem like a distant issue, but the effects usually are felt. What do you think there's that limited information, Dr. Franklin, when it comes to matters of food loss and waste? Why do you think this issue should start at a personal level?
If I may start, I would say that people lose food, but they don't pay attention to it. Like somebody is sick, but he's not paying attention to what the body is telling him. So the general public usually don't pay keen attention to food loss and waste. They don't compute the lost opportunities for doing business, the lost opportunities to feed people who are hungry, the impact on the environment, because they see it coming in small quantities, which does not grip the attention. Perhaps if they lost a lot at once, it might. But because they lose it little by little, day by day, they think it's normal. This is not normal, because we are losing food which should be feeding people, especially in a country where a number of us are going hungry in our cities. So this state of affairs little attracts people's attention. More and above that is that not enough awareness has also been created to sensitize the public about the need to preserve our food and use them for the intended purposes for which they are produced. So there's lack of awareness that can bring this to the attention of the public that food should be preserved, we should minimize losses as far as we can. So a number of factors, but most of them also is lack of awareness. The people need to be sensitized and know that losing food has many negative impacts to our own persons as health, nutrition and food safety, and also to the environment and livelihoods. Yes.
When you talk about this awareness, who is responsible to carry out this awareness?
I think a number of partners are responsible. We have state agencies, we have NGOs, we have academia like ours. So as I can say, it's a collective responsibility because all of us suffer from food loss and food waste, either by being hungry, losing opportunities, having environment being polluted due to the food that we lose and waste. So I think it's a collective responsibility. Each sector has their own responsibilities to do.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Antonina, from your perspective, how much of a problem are we facing in terms of food loss and waste, especially within our cities?
I would say it's a major problem in different settings. So in markets, in supermarkets, in households, and this can be attributed to issues around infrastructure, so lack of proper storage facilities. For example, in markets, lack of proper cold room facilities, because one thing that you know is that the highest amount of losses is from fruits and vegetables. So yeah, I would say it's mainly because of lack of proper infrastructure.
Proper infrastructure.
Yeah.
And if we are to involve the government, what do you think, what role does the government have to play to ensure that this issue is well addressed? And even as such, even as we prepare national food silos and everything, that everything is made according to the standards that are required. Where does the government come in all this?
So the government plays a significant role in creating an enabling environment that will reduce food loss and waste, and this can be through policies and strategies. At the moment, we are developing food loss and redistribution guidelines just to ensure that to reduce food loss, but through that we are also ensuring consumer protection and also protection of food distributors. In the current situation, there are people who are who recognize that food loss and waste is a major problem, but their hands are tied because they're not sure of the proper channels to ensure that food is redistributed to people who actually need it. So through the government's role in developing guidelines that will provide structures to ensure that food is safely redistributed and accessible by the most vulnerable population. So I'd say one is just creating an enabling environment through policies, but apart from that, investment in infrastructure, so cold room storage, and then apart from that, coming up with strategies of making food preservation strategies accessible to the wider community. I think that would go a long way.
Okay, Dr. Franklin, let's paint a scenario. What would you foresee happening? Let's say if we reduced food loss and waste by, say, around 50%, especially in the country.
Yes. I think one direct impact is that there'll be more food available for people to feed on. So the prices perhaps would also be relatively cheaper because when you lose food, producers, traders also compensate for that loss in their pricing. So reduction of food loss will have an immediate impact in making more food available for people to consume. The second one is that when you save food, you save also losses in terms of money. So those who produce them will earn more because they're losing less. Those who sell them will also earn more because they lose less. So we have more food available, more income or better livelihoods. Then we also have the aspect of the environment. if you walk in our markets, you find food that have been wasted. Our markets are littered. The environment will also be preserved. Our dump sites, a recent study indicated, one that we did before with Kisumu Local Interaction Platform, indicated that most of our waste in our dump sites are organic waste. A larger part of it is also food from households, from our markets, where they get wasted. So when we reduce food loss and waste, we also save the environment. Yeah, so those are things that we cannot even quantify in terms of the benefits that we'll enjoy. Yes.
Dr. Antonina, what would you say is a justification for tracking food loss and waste, especially within African countries? And why should it be a priority, especially for people who want to become food sufficient? Yes.
I'd say data is information. So if you're not tracking, if you do not know the amount of food that's actually wasted and lost, then you cannot take proper measures or actions to ensure that there's reduction in food loss and waste. So I would say having that information is power, and it will enable not only governments but also the general population to take relevant measures and actions to reduce food loss and waste.
Yes. Dr. Franklin, how is academia using this space to ensure that we deal with this, or we mitigate the effects of food loss and waste?
Okay, in academia we have a duty to do research. We have a duty to collaborate with communities. So we can do research as academia to provide the necessary scientific data that can inform decision making, that can inform policies, so that we have the right legal framework and the right information to sensitize and create awareness among the community members and various stakeholders.
Yes.
As used through AfriFood Links, one of those things is awareness creation. This week, culminating in the International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste, we are creating awareness on this issue. Perhaps if you make enough noise, many people will realize that it is an issue, and perhaps many more will take action at a personal level or at an institutional level. So we need to do research, we need to engage with the community as we feed them with the information that we get, and we should also make awareness creation through the sources that we, outlets that we have. We need to make more noise than we have done before.
Dr. Antonina, what would you say are the major impediments that are making it hard to address this issue once and for all?
Lack of data is one. Like at the moment, we do not have proper figures on the actual amount of food that is lost in different value chains. And if you do not know, then taking action also becomes a challenge. And then apart from that, lack of investment in infrastructure that will prevent food loss and waste, poor food handling across the food value chain, I would say that's a major barrier. But apart from that, just lack of consumer awareness, as has been highlighted. So people do not know that the impact that food loss and waste has on different factors in our lives.
Yes. Dr. Franklin, we're living in the world of tech nowadays, the advent of AI and everything. Everything is happening online, the use of technology. How do you say the technology that we have today can come in and help in mitigating food loss and waste, or dealing with it once and for all?
I think technology and innovation are part of tools that we can use as society, as universities, to improve our situation in terms of food loss and waste. Universities can innovate in technologies. We can use AI to help analyze and synthesize the data that we have locally and even globally, and be able to have a more accurate view of what is happening on the ground. So AI is a good tool. It helps to coalesce and analyze data that we may have.
Yes.
But beyond that one, we need also practical, physical interventions, like in terms of technology, innovation, more so in terms of preserving food, in terms of technologies for transporting food, in terms of gauging how long certain food items might go bad. I think one of the things that we also find in the markets that contribute to food loss is premature harvesting of fruits taken from the market.
Yes.
Somebody buys because he can't tell whether this fruit was mature. When it was harvested, he takes it home. At home there it goes bad. He doesn't use it. It becomes food waste. If you have an educated consumer population, then they will definitely know that this one is not ripe. They leave it. And that will be like a deterrent to premature harvesting of certain fruits to the market.
Yes.
So I think there is a lot that we can do in terms of education, innovation, technology to curb or reduce food waste and stop it eventually.
Dr. Antonina, you are a research associate, researcher and scientist at AfriFood Links. What can such projects do to ensure that people have more information on what is happening, especially when it comes to food loss and waste? And what are the measures that maybe you have put in place to ensure that this issue is addressed?
Okay. So within the AfriFood Links project, we're implementing different interventions that aim to reduce food loss and waste. So the first one is just documenting the quantities of foods that are lost within markets. And so that information will also be used as an advocacy tool to say that, hey, there's a problem here. But apart from that, as I mentioned, also implementing interventions. We have one intervention in our fish market, Obunga Pap Market, which mainly deals with bony fish. So in this market, we've been able to set up a cold room to reduce the wastage of fish, because one of the things that the vendors were grappling with was wastage of fish, which is the main source of income. But apart from that, we are also piloting a food rescue and redistribution system. And we're working closely with an organization called Food Banking Kenya, who are experts in the area of food rescue. And one thing that they have is an application which links the person who has excess food to the potential consumer. So that's another way in which technology can be used to reduce food loss and waste. But apart from those two interventions, you also have we're also working very closely with different stakeholders, including government, civil society organizations, to develop food rescue and redistribution guidelines so that we have a structure in place to ensure that food rescue and redistribution is done in the correct way. And in the long run, will protect the consumers as well as the people who have, or the food distributors. Let me see.
Dr. Franklin, how would you rate our efforts in this aspect of food loss and waste as a country? And do you see a situation where we can address it effectively? Na tuseme this has been dealt with.
Where we are, I can say that not much, not enough is being done. I think because it's an issue that is not yet fully in the grip of the public. But something is being done, and we are hoping and believe that we can do more. So through projects like AfriFood Links and other initiatives that can come out there, we can do more. And I believe that we can reduce food waste. So we just need to sensitize the public, give agency to different stakeholders, and mobilize resources to make this a constant, just the way we've done climate change. We need to give it the gravity it deserves. Food is something core to the human existence.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. You know, we are talking about this issue, but from you, Dr. Antonina, what would you say are the practical ways that anyone who is watching you right now can do to ensure that they reduce or mitigate these effects?
First, I would say is just proper handling of food, because a lot of food is lost through improper handling.
Yes.
But apart from that, individually, say if you are at a buffet table, a lot of food ends up being wasted because you pack your plate with a lot of food which you do not necessarily consume. So just being conscious of the amount of food that you serve, ensuring that it's what you can actually complete. But apart from that, food preservation methods, because there are seasons where we have excesses of different products, say for example mangoes. During that season, then measures such as drying the fruit so that it's consumed at a later period can go a long way in reducing food waste. But also proper storage of food, especially, say, for example, in cold rooms or refrigerators, that would go a long way in reducing food loss and waste.
Okay. You look at responsibility and policy and the future, Dr. Franklin. Do we need to set targets for reducing this problem or dealing with it once and for all? And would that work if we set targets?
I think from the motive perspective or from the practical perspective, when you don't set a target, you have nothing you're working towards to. So we may not achieve those targets, but it will be a drive. It will be something we're working towards to. We are better placed to make gains than having no targets. So yes, affirmatively, I would say that we need to have targets to work towards to. We may not achieve them, but it will be steps. We'll be able to have that we are working towards achieving something, some value, some reduction. And with necessary and appropriate methodologies, we can measure that and say, we did this, we realized this. We might have exceeded our target, that would be a plus. If we didn't, we can say, let us review how we did it. We might need to sensitize more, develop methodologies, mobilize more resources. So yes, we need to be proactive, intentional, and work towards a certain definite goal.
Indeed.
Yes.
Let us take a very short, okay, I'm told we are not, we are to take a short break, but we should continue. Okay. But Dr. Antonina, from your perspective, how can we strike a balance between making sure that we have food safety regulations and still minimize food waste? Where is the balance?
I would say it also lies in awareness on proper food safety, proper food handling to ensure its safety. But apart from that, I would say it also kind of starts with development of policies and documents that training manuals that can build the capacity of people when it comes to issues around food safety. When people are aware of how they need to handle food to ensure its safety, then they're more likely to handle food properly. So I would say building the capacity of the different people who handle food to ensure its safety will go a long way.
You know, education and information are very important tools when it comes to addressing this issue. But how do you see that impacting consumer behavior in a way that is positive in dealing with this problem?
I think when you touch the nerve that will make them wake up.
Yes.
Food lost is money lost. You spent money, you spent effort. So money is a language that all of us understand. So if you relate food loss to money, people will give it attention. Then nutritional security. Some people, they lack what to eat. So from a moral perspective, we shouldn't lose food or waste food because we have more. In any sense, we should be able to just use what we need and spare, if we bought more, for families that are not able to have that. So for those of us who are having that moral sense, it's an avenue that we can appeal to, that it is not morally okay to waste food simply because you have more. And even if you had less, we should do more as good stewards, not to waste food. So I think we just need to touch the right buttons. Money, that moral sense of responsibility, that stewardship, then the sense of the environment. I think these are things that appeal to the general public when you speak to them. So when we link food loss and food waste to these areas,
yes,
we are most likely able to make some good progress.
Yes. Dr. Antonina, what does a zero food waste society look like?
I would say it's a society where everyone has access to food.
Yes.
The environment is conducive in terms of climate, because we know that food loss and waste contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. Yeah, and I'd say it would be a very happy and thriving society, because then cases of malnutrition or undernutrition will be reduced. Also issues around, I would argue, poverty would also reduce significantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, the International Day of addressing, or the International Day of Awareness and food loss and waste is coming up, Dr. Franklin.
Yes.
The 29th of September,
yes,
that
yes,
is.
Yes.
What can Kenyans expect in terms of activities?
We are and are going over the week to create awareness. At least the public should be able to know that food waste and food loss is an issue. So we are going to create awareness. We are also asking them to tell somebody about food waste and what they can do to reduce it and eventually to stop it. So that's what they should expect. We'll be creating awareness through social media, through TV and radio talk shows. And not only us, there are many other organizations out there, FAO, that are doing more. You can get these resources. So there is awareness creation, because this is an issue that has not yet picked up with the public. So that's what they should expect, and we are encouraging them also to be part of it by telling somebody. They're creating awareness. By helping them know what they can do,
yes,
they're contributing, at least at that level. And we hope that these messages will bear fruit in tangible actions in reducing food loss and food waste.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Your closing remarks.
Reduction of food loss and waste is possible, and people should make deliberate efforts to reduce food loss and waste. And apart from that, having proper structures will ensure redistribution, safe redistribution of food that can potentially be wasted and lost to the most vulnerable populations. And I believe that will go a long way in ensuring food security.
Dr. Franklin.
Mine, I would appeal to the public that do something to reduce and stop food waste. Teach somebody, even if it is one person, let them know that food loss and food waste is a national, is a global concern. It is something that is serious, especially in societies where we have people with moderate to severe food insecurity.
Yes.
And then let them do something to reduce food waste at a personal, individual level. Yes.
Indeed, the message is home. Reducing food waste and loss at a personal level. Thank you so much for making time to come and talk about this very important issue. That is Dr. Franklin Otiende Awor, who is a senior lecturer at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, and also a researcher at Afro-Food Links Project. And also Dr. Antonina Mutoro, who is an associate research scientist. This is where this conversation ends, but don't go too far. Vivian Ndegwa is up next with Women at the Forefront. My name is Mark Megwe. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us.
The world of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street.
Critical issues are going to be discussed.
From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1.
Wewe ndio Alphonse Makoha Makacha. Sasa ukiniambia wewe huko unanifanya hivi na mkono. Si uongee, ongea. Ai, mpelekeni mental hospital.
Umesema nilikuwa na wanyama hapo. Ni wanyama ulikuwa unakuja kutumia ama ulikuwa unakuja kutumia binadamu?
Acha kunipima akili yangu.
Wewe ndio unanipima. Kwani unafikiri mimi nataka kujua ni kilo ngapi? Ama uliona niko na talanta ya kuongea, si ndio? Ama ya kulia kama wanyama.
Hata kama uko na talanta, wewe anatumia hiyo talanta vibaya. Sikia mheshimiwa.
Hiyo hoteli ni yako?
Hapana.
Hapana. Wewe uliniwekea kuku hapo hivyo?
Hapana.
Hapana. Did you serve me? Hapana.
Same question.
Sema kila kitu hapana.
Nini?
John Kionga Munyes was born in Lokichar, Turkana North. There were not many options in education for young Munyes. When the time came for children to stop tending their father's goat and start formal education, the choice of primary schools was limited. One of the available choices was Lokitown Primary School, where Munyes started his elementary education. Transitioning from primary to secondary school was not an easy choice to make. Having completed his primary education, Munyes was among the few who proceeded to secondary school, proceeding to Lodwar High School for secondary education. It is here that his true sense of purpose was born, and after high school, he went straight into charity work. His journey in charity broadened his horizons and enriched his experiences. He worked for several non-governmental organizations at this time, including the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, Oxfam, and Practical Action, and for the Catholic Church. In 1997, the Electoral Commission of Kenya created Turkana North constituency. He chose to cross over to public sector and make a stab at being the first member of parliament for the newly created constituency. Munyes won against a handful of other candidates. In the years that followed his election, Munyes proved to be an asset to Ford Kenya, rising to become the party's chairman in a few years. In 2002, Munyes defended his seat again on a Ford Kenya ticket and recaptured it. In 2003, he was named as Assistant Minister in the Ministry of Water and Irrigation. After a cabinet reshuffle, he was appointed Minister in the Office of the President in charge of special programs. As Minister, he was responsible for making sure Kenyans emerge from the famine with as little damage as possible. In the run-up to the 2007 polls, Ford Kenya supported a Kibaki candidacy and later formed part of the coalition parties that eventually made up the Party of National Unity. He campaigned for his re-election and was re-elected. He was named Minister for Labour. His longest stint was as Labour Minister, a position he held for 5 years that followed the formation of the Government of National Unity as the
You are right in time for our Women at the Forefront segment, and this is how we are beginning it today. Today, we have an amazing lady with us in studio. Her name is Joy Limo. Joy Limo is the founder and the CEO, Queen's Court Academy, and she's also a passionate advocate and mentor as well. And on today's show, we are going to be looking at potential to thrive, your potential to thrive, because she is big about that. She is big and finds joy in just shaping lives, and what better way to do it other than to have her here to get to speak to you who's watching us at home. Remember that this particular segment is usually for uplifting and inspiring the next generation, the younger woman, and Joy is just the perfect person for us today to get into that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you on board today.
Thank you.
All right, let's begin by first allowing you to let us in on who exactly Joy Limo is.
I'm a mother, a grandmother, a teacher, I'm a life coach, and I'm a lover of Christ and a lover of people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is who Joy is. Where exactly did your passion for mentorship come in, and your passion for advocacy as well?
As I grew up, there were certain things that I missed being told, just because of the generation my mother was in, or my parents were in. And you know, as you grow up, you discover some things through your friends, through other people, and so I remember how it felt not knowing and growing up, and then all of a sudden you discover. I felt it would be great for other people to know, to be given a chance to know and understand what growing up is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where your passion came from. For you, not being let in on quite a number of things, you know, that is from home, you know, and getting to learn from things from outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because our mothers came from a different generation, and those generations, there were certain things you did not talk about. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Now, you're the founder and the CEO of Queen's Court Academy. Tell me a bit about Queen's Court Academy.
Queen's Court Academy is not a school. Many people ask me, oh, so you have a school.
Yeah.
It is not a school, it's not academic. It is a mentorship program and a finishing school. I always bring the finishing school after, because what we're talking about is not academic. We're talking about polishing your life, polishing who you are, polishing your, you know, the way you walk in your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's more on, it's holistic in allowing a person to just be wholesomely the person that they are to be.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you only dealing with girls, ladies?
At first we were only dealing with the girls. And then there was a huge outcry that we have left out the boys. So we are producing these wonderful princesses, but who are we releasing them to? So we want to create the boy child who is all-rounded, you know. So sometimes the young men go for circumcision, and they're gone for a month. They pay a lot of money, and when they come back, they've added weight, and they don't have too much that they have learned. They come back, you know, and I felt there's a gap there. They need to be taught more things about life and etiquette and protocols and how to behave. Yes.
Yeah. So how does that look like, you know, at Queen's Academy? Like, who are you bringing on board? How are you bringing them on board, rather? You know, is it just random people? Or I would love to understand how you go about, you know, bringing the people that you have on board, coming on board.
Okay, let me just walk you through that. We have, we spread our word by through churches, because first of all, in churches, the pastors, they have the ears of the parents, and they're like, oh, mtoto wangu ameharibika, oh, my child is giving me problems. So we go through the pastors, we go through schools, we go through word of mouth, through friends, and believe you me, there's a lot of people who need the program. So we advertise and let them know when the next cohort will be, and then we have, then they register, and then they come, and it's a 10-day residential program. They come and stay with us for 10 days, and within that 10 days, our curriculum it's intensive, but I thank God because so far we've been able to do what we set out to do. Yes.
So it's a 10-day program.
It's a 10-day residential program. They come in, we receive them, they get a welcome package, which starts off actually what we intend to do. So the package has a robe, a soap, and just things that they, for personal
hygiene,
taking care of yourself. And we want everybody to be at the same level. So after that, then they get into the program, and
Are you the only one doing the mentorship, or you have other people who come on board?
No. I'm not a magician. I don't know everything. I know what is needed. I know, what would be good for these children, but I'm not an expert in everything. So I have a faculty, a very good faculty made up of doctors, made up of beauticians, made up of, we have, especially for the teenage group, there's a lot of self-esteem issues, so we have people coming in to talk to them about that. We have psychiatrists, psychologists, we have, everybody who is an expert in their profession. We thank God that we are able to bring them in. We have the doctors who are gynecologists, who are, all kinds of doctors. So we invite them in. It's a faculty that we are building up.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's no age limit to the people coming on board in terms of the ones who are being mentored?
Okay, we have two groups so far. We have the teenagers, 13 to 19. So we deal with the issues that really mess teenagers up. And then we have another group, which is from 20 to 30 or 35, depending on who is coming in. And we found that everybody seems to need the program.
Speaking about that, just the fact that we're living in a very fast-paced world, and with the era of social media nowadays, how would you say, or how rather would you view healing, especially in this kind of today's world that is very high stress?
Healing psychologically? Okay, when we start the program, there are no phones. We cut off phones and we talk about, literal life as it is. And then we talk about, we actually go into those areas, what the internet does. Because a lot of teenagers are suffering because of too much internet or crazy internet or some kind of, stress caused by internet. And but at the same time, the world needs it, So we have to deal with that, talk about that, and see what can build you and what can break you. So we actually talk about that. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, you actually did. And remember that you can be part of this conversation. As our viewer, we are welcoming you to come on board and get to be part of this conversation, get to talk to us. We have our numbers which are open. You can send us a WhatsApp message that is on 0716 103 301, 0716 103 301. You can send us a WhatsApp message. let us know if you've got any questions for our guest today, that is Joy Limo. If you have questions surrounding you as a woman or even the boy child, you know, you thriving, you getting to thrive, how do you get to that point where you get to thrive? And I know most of us get to struggle with something we call imposter syndrome, you know, whereby you doubt yourself so much. You find yourself in this space, like for example, I'm in this space where I'm the one who's interviewing you, but I keep doubting myself over and over, you know. Most of us maybe get to deal with that, and I would love maybe to just pose this as a question to you. Like, how do you go about dealing with such, you know, the imposter syndrome, whereby you don't think that you belong, but you're actually there, so you actually do belong. So how to go about something like that?
When I was introducing myself, I did not say that I'm also a counselor. I did clinical psychology.
Yes.
And so one of the first things we do is to do a counseling session with each child as much as possible. I have a team that works with me, and once we've done the counseling, we roughly know where your head is at. So we go with you from there, and then we work on it, because that problem stems from low self-esteem, and there's so many things that cause people to have low self-esteem. And so I find that is one of the biggest challenges we have. Yeah. And we have to work on it a lot. Yes.
Yeah. You know, having worked with this group of young people, as you have, you mentioned that as one of the biggest challenge that you have with them, the low self-esteem. Maybe what other things have you gotten to pick, you know, just from interacting with them?
Well, in our last couple of cohorts, we had to deal a lot with gender-based violence. That is a very heavy spot right now. Yeah. And also the LGBTQ is a very sensitive, very hard area for some people. And so that has been that is what we're working on a lot now. At the moment. Yes.
That's where the challenges are.
Yes, we cover all the other things. Yeah. But the challenges in those two areas are quite big. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe trying to look at a solution for that. Who should come on board, or how should we go about, you know, trying to, you know, curb that?
Okay. I must say that I'm speaking as a Christian, born-again Christian. And of course, our program is based on Christian values and Bible values. So what we try and do is bring people on board who have the experience, who have gone through, and who are at a place where they are able to talk about it, and they're able to work with the people who are in that problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I want us to get into the bit where, you know, you've lived in the US as well, right? Yes. So while there, you were very instrumental in drafting 4 bills that actually became, you know, 5 bills. Oh, look at me reducing the number. Yeah, 5 bills, which actually became law. So if you could just take us a bit through that process, you know.
When I was in the US, I found myself a lot in the disability community, doing a lot of advocacy. It was almost by default. It wasn't a planned thing. It wasn't. And at some point, I became the Miss Wheelchair in Maryland, and that was all they gave me was a crown and a sash. The rest of the work was my work.
Yeah.
So they say it is your year. You do whatever you'll do in it. So what I did was I took up employment, housing, and transportation for people with disabilities. That was my platform. And I ran with it. And by God's grace, I was able to work with people, talk to a lot of people with, you know, I used to have 200 to 300 calls in a day. And so as we talked, I was able to divide the problems, because everybody called me with problems. So I divided the problems into, you know, into groups. And then because I did not, I was not a lawyer, so I took a paralegal course. And so I was able to draft, as a person with disability, what would I like, what law would I like to be passed so that this problem is solved. And I thank God because I was able to do that. And I was able to address Congress because of that, on the same.
Yeah. And, you know, still on the same, maybe bringing it back home, what changes or what change would you like to see on the same line of, you know, persons living with disability, maybe in terms of policy, in terms of, you know, just in terms of law? What changes would you love to see back here?
I would love to see what happened in America happen here, but Kenya is a whole other kettle, you know. So what I am doing right now in my retirement, I am talking to the leaders, the current leaders of persons with disability, so that, you know, I can give them guidance somehow, so that they can run with it and do what they can do here. Yes, because they have the energy, they have the way to do it. Yes.
Yeah. So you're in talks.
Yes, I talk to the leaders who are in disability, leaders in disability issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so it's something that is still in the pipeline.
Well, I talk to them when I meet them and when they invite me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my concentration now is on mentorship for everybody.
For everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, you know, speaking about mentorship still, you are big on showing up, you know, showing up and being a source of hope for the next person, you know. So maybe just what does showing up look like, you know, not just for how you do it, you know, in your mentorship program, but generally, how does showing up look like for everyone else?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you were to say there's someone who's struggling with something, for someone like me who's maybe a colleague or a friend or just, I know you, right? So how should I show up for the next person?
If I understand your question well, showing up is being there for the next person.
Yes.
So if you know somebody and they're close to you and they're having an issue or a problem and you really don't know, you've said everything you know to say and they're still not getting it or they're falling further, then the best thing is to guide that person to a counselor or to somebody who can talk to them. So for me, showing up is when somebody comes to me, I have to make sure that I play that role in their life to make them move to the next level. Yes.
So that's how to show up.
That's how to show up.
Yeah. Now,
be your brother and sister's keeper. Yes.
That's one thing we were taught from a very young age, you know, always be your brother's keeper and sister's keeper as well. You know, as you do your mentorship work, specifically with Queen's Court Academy, maybe could you give us, you know, examples of transformations that you've gotten to witness from some of these young people that make your heart smile?
Okay, one of the things that I know is that every organization or every program that affects people, there's a certain amount of there's a percentage that will make it, and there's a percentage that may slip away. I'm happy to say that when I see the young ladies and young men that have been through our program, I can tell you that person walking in the street has been through our program. Because in our program, we talk about hygiene, we talk about how to carry yourself, we talk about etiquette throughout the program. We talk about so many things, and it's not just lectures. It's so interactive, and everybody gets so involved. So when somebody is walking down the street, you can say, that is one of my people. Or they've been,
just from how they carry themselves?
They carry themselves, how they talk, how they behave, you know, how they sit and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned about your clinical psychology. You have a master's in clinical psychology.
Yes.
How would you say that has come in handy for you, even in the work that you're doing right now?
It comes in handy because, like I said, we do counseling for every child, every person that comes to our program. I also do counseling in church, and you know, individually, people just come to me. So it's actually been, I use it every day, all the time. Yes.
Yeah. So it's your day-to-day?
Yeah, it's day-to-day.
Generally, it's your day-to-day. What would you say is the biggest challenge that people face in becoming their best versions?
I think people have a problem believing in themselves. That's one thing. And some people don't have a grounding. For example, my grounding is in God, in my faith. So anytime I feel I'm getting lost or losing it, I know where to run, and I ground myself there. A lot of people don't have that, and they're always looking. They run to Vivian and say, "Oh, can you?" You know, and Vivian has no answer, or she's busy, or they run to somebody else. So for me, what has helped me the most has been my faith in God, and knowing who He is in my life. And so when I share that with you, if you don't have it, you'll say, but she told me, and she looks like she's, you know, so it gives you at least a direction to say, let me try it also. Yes.
Yeah. Still on mentorship, because that is what you're big on. You're big on. Maybe for someone who's watching and they may be, you know, asking themselves, why mentorship? You know, what is the importance of mentorship? One would say, okay, nowadays there's the internet, there's social media, there's the internet, there's AI. I mean, if I'm struggling with something, I can just type in some words and I get to know maybe my problem. I get to know how to go about dealing with it. So maybe if you can speak about the importance of that the kind of mentorship that you do, which is one-on-one compared to, you know, me having my gadget and believing that, oh, I can just give this gadget all my stress and I'll be okay.
Well, you know, in Queen's Court, one of the things we're big on, let me just say it, one of the things we're big on when we meet each other, we give a hug. And actually, it is said that everybody needs at least 4 hugs a day.
4 hugs a day?
Just for maintenance.
Wow.
That was just for maintenance. But the upkeep, now you figure it out. So we're big on the human touch. You know, give your friend a hug, and give your friend a listening ear. You know, the internet is dry, cold. It's just a machine.
It has no emotion.
You know, if I leave it there, I've left it there. But if I talk to you and I've given you a hug, then that hug will speak to you. It will speak to you. So the next time you see somebody who was in the place you are in, you say, oh, that hug helped me. Let me give it to this person. You know, we seem to be moving away from being human. And so Queen's Court Academy, we really want to keep that, maintain the human touch. Yes, and listening to you and understanding you and, you know, empathizing. Those are things that the internet cannot do for you. It will give you information. That's it. But for you to feel like somebody understands me, somebody has seen where I'm coming from, somebody knows where my heart is. Yeah, that's a difference.
So there's a whole difference.
Big
A
difference.
big difference. Because nowadays, people even use AI as their, counselors and psychologists.
Counselors, okay, AI will give you words.
Yeah.
It will tell you do this and don't do this. But when you come to me as a counselor, there's a way I will tell you the same thing that AI told you, but it has a personal touch that you'll say, oh yes, at least that one, I was so scared, I was so anxious, but she has talked to me and she told me this, and she meant what she said. AI is just giving you dry information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you feel like we are headed to a time when we will completely lose that personal touch?
I pray not, but we... I don't want to say it.
Yeah, but you feel like that's where we are headed.
Yes, if we don't, and that is why I think it is so important to have programs like this where people stay in touch with the reality, so that their reality is not a machine. Yeah.
Is it possible to avert it?
I don't know about averting,
yeah,
but at least live in it with a human touch. Yeah.
Live in it with a human touch.
Yes.
So take a pinch of it.
Yes.
And still maintain your being a human being.
Yes. So if, for example, you have anxiety.
Yeah.
And then you say, this thing is, so you look up, what do I do when I'm anxious? On your ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You look it up and it tells you, oh, this is what you do and this is what you don't do. Okay, you've looked at it and you've seen it. Then you come to me, ask me the same thing, and I will sit you down. I will make sure you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I will make sure you're relaxed. And by the time you're even talking about your anxiety, it's already started being alleviated. But when you read it from a machine,
yeah,
it will still be there. You say, okay, this is what it says. You have not gotten the human touch where I tell you, you know what? Everybody gets anxious. Don't worry about, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
To a point where I see that I've gone through. Yes.
Yeah. There could be someone who's watching us right now or who feels like they are stuck in life, who feels like they are unsure of their purpose in this life. What would you say to that person?
I would say to that person, depending on who it is, we have the parents also.
Yeah.
We're talking about teenagers. We're talking about 20 to the young adults. We're talking about parents. Everybody has a moment when they are anxious, when they're not sure, when they have low self-esteem or something. This is what I would say. For the teenagers, please come to our program. Your life will never be the same. Young adults, come. We will discuss those matters that you've hidden somewhere and nobody knows about. We will talk about it and we will be able to know what to do next.
Yeah.
And for parents, I encourage you. Our next cohort will be in November, so I'm encouraging everybody to get a space because we have limited space, and so that we can move on. And I also encourage people who are young and enterprising to bring up more programs like ours. Yes.
We have more people who set up such such spaces.
Yes.
We call it such spaces, safe spaces where more people can just go there and feel like they're being heard. They can be seen. I advocate for that too, because sometimes you need that. You just need to be somewhere where you feel, okay, I feel like I'm being seen here.
I would invite you also to come to our program.
I will. I'll take this as my invite. I'll take this as my invite
absolutely.
And come through. So probably you will get to mention how they can get to you. If there's a page that you have online for Queens that they can reach out to as we wind up.
All right, we are on all the social media pages. I have a good media team that that works on that for me. Young people, of course. So we are on Facebook, Queen's Court Academy. We're on Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter. You can see I'm a different generation, but I'm trying.
You are. Yeah, so across all social media platforms.
Across all social media platforms. Yeah. And when you look us up, you'll find our contacts. And we really, I'm encouraging parents, I'm encouraging the young people to come to our program.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. I want to finish with this question that I like to get to hear the answer to from most people. If you could go back and speak to your younger self, to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her?
A lot of things.
Summarize it.
There's a lot of things I would tell my 18-year-old self.
Yeah.
And I would tell my 18-year-old self that you can actually make it in life, and you look for the right way to go. You look for ask questions. Don't think you know everything. Look for answers from different areas, different sides.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joy, for gracing our show today. It was a pleasure having you on board. If you probably have some final remarks?
Like I said, we all need encouragement. We all need to be assisted in some way or another. So I would encourage anybody who is, if you know anybody who is a teenager or a young adult who can come to the program, you're all welcome.
All right.
Then we can talk some more.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, this is where we end this particular conversation. That was Joy Limo. She is the founder and CEO of Queen's Court Academy. She's also a passionate advocate and mentor and a psychologist, a clinical psychologist as well. Now, as I wind up, I can see my colleagues are on standby as well, and there's something that Limo mentioned that I would love to begin there, you know, as I get to interact with them. Limo, we're sorry about that. Now, Limo mentioned that as a human being, we at least need 4 hugs a day, and that's like the minimum amount of hugs. You know? 4 of them.
For maintenance.
For maintenance. That is just for maintenance. I don't know what you guys pick from that.
That we need 4.
How many hugs have you gotten today? You need 4 hugs for maintenance in a day.
Okay. So is there a maximum to it, or?
No, you need at least 4.
At least 4. 4 is the minimum.
For your maintenance, yeah.
Victor, how many have you gotten today?
What exactly?
Hugs.
Hugs?
Yes.
Yeah.
I only got 1.
So 3 more to go for the day.
She can give me 1 before she leaves, now that she says that.
Yeah. Yes.
And you, Vivian.
Then that will be 3.
That will be 3. And
you'll find 1 more.
The 4th one, I know where I'll get the 4th one.
Okay. You don't want a hug from Mike.
What does it really show?
No, I'm not hugging.
No, not Mike.
No. It's not good.
Tunapiganga mabega. Is that considered to be a hug?
The one that you...
Yeah. You just...
Shoulder to shoulder.
Yes.
What psychologically, how does it help, Dr.
Joy?
It helps you to get that personal touch, that you have somebody, and that you are somebody.
Yes.
You're not just, you're not just living your life. Even those people who act so tough and look so, they also need hugs.
Yes.
And it makes a big difference. Try it. Assignments, try it for this whole day.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Can we also say it's an assurance that you are not alone?
Yes.
Yeah. Ile mtu anasema ati I wanted to cry but I needed a hug.
Yeah.
And you feel warm. There is, yeah, I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah, there's usually actually a trend on social media. I don't know the exact wordings, but there's where you put up something and say, I probably needed a hug, but well, this is what I'm doing right now. And I think that is where it stems from. Like a hug would do so much for someone.
Yes.
You know, a hug would really
make a difference.
It would make a difference, honestly. If
But I
I'm
think
speaking for myself.
For ladies, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it?
It does it really have anything to do with gender? It's a human being thing.
Sasa mimi na mic hapa, niaje buda.
Fist bump.
Boom. Uko sawa, niko poa, adios.
Yeah. But
Okay.
that's a good thing to know. That's a good thing to know.
Yeah, talk about that. There is a fact here, I've just bumped on it, that being alone for a very long period of time is as bad as smoking.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah, being alone for a long time is also as bad as smoking. So which means that it also resonates with, we're talking about a hug, okay? You need a shoulder to lean on, basically.
Yeah.
We are not an island.
Yes.
And it says that, did you know that being lonely for about 50% is more likely to cause you a premature death than with a healthy social connection? So this is because of several different factors. First, loneliness. Reduces, you can imagine, your lifespan, because you need somebody to talk to. We are social human beings. You need to vent, you need to laugh, you also need to get a hug.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
That is how we are hugging the show.
That is a hug for us.
That's a hug for us.
Yeah, that is how we are winding it up. And this is an assignment that we are giving to you, just as we've been given by Joy as our assignment. Ensure that you at least get 4 hugs today. Just try it today. At least get 4 hugs
I have 3
today
to go.
for you.
3 to go.
Yeah, and
Joy,
then you...
Joy, you owe me 1.
You can have 2.
Yeah, just try that and then see how your day will come along. You know, if you'll notice a difference, you know a number, you can let us know. But it's an assignment I'm going to take up. It's an assignment I am going to take up. Mike, on your segment today, you got to speak about food security.
Yes, actually we're talking about food loss and waste, and figures show that Kenya loses about 40% of its food production. So that is a conversation that we had, and I had two panelists who highlighted the matter, given that it's not something that whose awareness is there as much as it's supposed to be, but as they put it, it's the first step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we tend to waste a lot of food. There was some numbers you had mentioned. Yes. I don't know if I got them properly, but about 40%,
yes, 40%
of our food goes to waste.
Yes.
And that's insane.
Yes.
40%.
It's a lot of food. You know, that's around 9 million tons of food. If you put monetary figures on it, that costs about 72 billion. You see, that's a dent to the economy. So that is something, that is why that conversation is very important right about now. And I hope that Kenyans learned something out of it, because it starts with you and me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Victor, as we wind up, your take home from your discussion this morning.
Absolutely. One thing I picked from Dr. Richard Lesiampe is that Kenyatta National Hospital is actually working to make sure that everybody who has registered with SHA gets medical attention at KNH. That is number one. The first floor of that wing, according to him, is that it's been solely put aside and actually being cleared to start registering people. So if you don't have a SHA registration, you'll go there and you'll be taken care of. But another important thing that he said that is going to be the first ever surgery to be done in Kenya is the maxillofacial, I think I got it right, surgery. The gentleman, he said that, who was shot down in North Rift, and is going to get that facial surgery, whose jaws are completely blown out, either because of the bullet or something. They are going to do that. I think that is a very great step, and definitely we'll be right here with more information probably in our tomorrow's bulletin. And as he promised, we'll be here again after 100 days to tell us what next. We talked about the issue of audit reports. The question is accountability, and finally the implementation of the audit reports.
All
when
right.
it comes to the use of your money as Wanjiko, you must ask for accountability and how that money is being spent. That was all for today.
All right, this is where we put a cap to today's show. Thank you so very much to each and every one of you for being part of our conversations. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.
Nasikia una travel on Monday.
Nani wanapena hii information hivi?
Na muogopi Juliana?
Alikuwa anazunguka tu kwa barabara na sio kwa nyumba za watu.
Uongo ni mbaya.
Sometimes uongo husaidia.
The best time sasa saa hii ni uende nyumbani.
Sasa ni saa ngapi msichana anatembea usiku shwali?
Si utasoma uko unapeleka shule na gari yako kubwa.
Chindoro Mombera mwana.
Ma. Amashindu tutamano shimunyoe.
Wengine watasema niko na
Sawa.
I'm not okay.
Mbona unacheza na simu ambayo iko off?
Kwani kuna mtu amekufanya ukasirika hapa? Nani baya?
Babe, unanipenda?
What else could you be hiding from us? It's been barely a month.
All I want is peace, that's all.
So that's why you decided to raise him from the dead.